I tomb in the Western Valley, number 23. Following the death of the youthful King Tutankhamun, King I assumed the throne of Egypt. After ascending to the throne, he ruled Egypt for 4 years, settling in the Western Valley of the Kings, which King Amenhotep III had earlier designated as his eternal resting place. He also had a modest tomb dug there. From an architectural perspective, this tomb may be unique in that it was cut with only one axis, maybe to allow sunlight to enter the burial chamber. This could be because the king adopted the Atenite doctrine, which is most certainly the case. The only tomb that has a unique and complete copy of the deity Amenhotep is his own, which he oversaw the carving of at Tel El Amarna, even though it was not finished. From a technical point of view, what's different is that, in addition to the usual religious motifs, this tomb now features depictions of everyday life which are on the walls of the tombs of prominent 18th dynasty officials. In one scene, the king and his wife are seen as noblemen hunting birds in papyrus swamps with a boomerang stick. The fact that every scene in this tomb is limited within the burial chamber makes it resemble the boy king's tomb. The tomb's entrance opens into a corridor that leads to a staircase with 2 niches on either side, which opens into a wide lengthy corridor that leads to a tiny, nearly square room. It serves as the entrance to the burial chamber, which is where the sarcophagus is located roughly in the center. This sarcophagus was moved to the Egyptian Museum. An opening leading to another chamber is located far west of the burial chamber. When we reach the burial chamber, we see the goddess Nefis standing between 2 boats on the left side, with 9 gods standing in front of her, led by the sun-crowned god Re-Horakti, and the double-crowned god Ado, the lord of Heliopolis, behind him, followed by Shutepet, Geb, Nut, Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The boat of the morning sun, called Manjet, with 2 Balkans inside, each standing on a stand, is behind the goddess Nefis. The texts below the scene correspond to chapters 130 and 144 of the Book of the Dead. There are 2 scenes on the eastern side of the burial chamber. The first shows the king and his wife Tai using spears to hunt hippopotamuses. This scene might refer to Horus's battle, who is presumably represented by the king in this instance against evil, which is represented by the god Set. Here, he takes the shape of a hippopotamus, and the entire scene is destroyed. In the other scene, they are using a boomerang to chase birds in a thicket of papyrus. The king is next seen standing alone in a third boat, this time holding a boomerang shooting stick that has been painted to resemble a snake in his left hand and a pair of ducks in his right. It is also noted that the names of the king and queen were purposefully scraped and distorted in order to remove any supporters of the Atenite cause. The first chapter of the book Abdumat is recorded on the northern wall, and it was recorded in 4 rows, almost exactly like the scenes recorded on the western wall in the sarcophagus room of the boy king's tomb. The sun boat is represented by the first row, where 2 individuals are bowing and worshipping a scarab in the center. The scene in the boy's tomb is matched here, with the name Osiris written above each of them and a group of 5 gods preceding the boat: Mat, the lady of the boat, Horus, Kama, and Nahasi. The next thing we see are 12 monkeys placed in 3 rows, with half of them facing to the left and the other half to the right. They are part of the first hour of the Abdumat book. The scenes on the western wall depict the 4 sons of Horus sitting around the offering table. Though the ancient Egyptian artist had portrayed them so that 2 of them appear on each side, Imsidi and Havi, each crowned with the red crown on the right, and Kabisidov and Tumamutep, each crowned with a white crown on the left, we see the scene above the entrance leading to the last room of the tomb. The goddess Hathor is seen embracing the king in the second scene. In front of the god Hathor, the third scene depicts the king with his soul, or spirit, Ka, behind him. The final scene shows the deity Osiris Nefer seated on his throne and hugging the king. The fourth scene shows the goddess God welcoming Ny, in the language of the ancient Egyptians, to the king. Behind him stood his soul or spirit, known as Ka. The sarcophagus of the king is kept in the Egyptian Museum under number 72,131, which the red granite stone, Because of a scene depicting 12 monkeys on the northern wall of the burial chamber, the inhabitants of Luxor called this tomb the Monkey Cemetery.